Hello and welcome to another mentoring session. This session that you will have a chance to hear right after this introduction is done by our colleague, new ICF accredited coach Boena, and she was student on our program, The Art and Science of Coaching. After this program, she immediately started her path towards ICF accreditation, and what you will have chance to hear is her oral assessment. In my perception, this is one of the best sessions that was delivered during oral assessment. And how oral assessments usually look like is that there are two mentor trainers who are listening for the call, and on the call there is a coach and the client. So there is a certain pressure because both coach and client knows that two people are listening and assessing their competencies. So usually coaches don't perform their best on oral assessments because of this additional people who are on the call with them. However, this session was very good. It is fully aligned with ICF competencies, and and it's a great example what new coaches can achieve if they're really committed to the process. So let's go immediately to this session. I will share my screen. And I will start the recording. Of course, this to share this recording, we have approval from both Boena and her client. So let's hear it.
So, Kat, as you know, we are here doing my oral assessment. You are my client. And before we start, I would just like to quickly check in what is something,
so in general,
how you are today,
coaching
actually.
is the process that is partnership between two equal people. So my suggestion is that always, like you start a conversation like with how you would do it with a friend. So how are you today? What's new? What is happening? Without any intention to impose anything positive or anything negative. So just to check in what it is that the client is bringing, what is happening, and we start from this mode of being if I can say, role of a friend. So slowly start to get into the session.
Thank you. Look, I'm really ready for this. I've had a lovely day. So as you know, I'm in Melbourne, so it's 8 p.m. here. So after a busy day, I'm looking at a beautiful summer evening and outside, and yeah, ready to engage. So thank you.
Thank you so much for all this support. So as Pedja already said to us, we have 30 minutes. So what is something you would like to talk with me so you have really good use of your time?
Okay, now another comment from my side. In general, there is no need to put any kind of pressure at the very beginning, especially in terms of the best results and what specifically do you want, because in most of the cases, people are bringing some kind of vague thing that is happening currently that they would like either to resolve or to move forward, or something very specific, and then they're too much focus on a detail. They don't see a big picture. So it's a good idea to start a little bit more abstract in terms of what it is that you would like to achieve, and from there we move into specificities.
I've thought really hard about this today, what I was going to bring. And so I think what I've decided is that, I'm about to go off on a big holiday in Tasmania and spend time in wilderness. And so after this time of freeing myself up, the big question for me is what next? What's after that? And more specifically, what I'd really like to explore is, if I was really going to come back and step up, really throw myself into the year, what does that look like? I've only kind of got vague ideas.
Okay. So
what you could hear here is that the client is really future oriented. So there was no problem thinking in terms of what happened and so on. Client's attention is on future. So there is a holiday that is ahead. So some time frame, I don't know. She didn't specify what is the time that in which the holiday will happen. And then she said that she will go somewhere in wilderness in Tasmania. And her intention for the session is what will happen after this holiday. So somewhere here, she would like to look into the future. Also, what you could observe in her answers is that she demonstrates strength on a level of abstractions where the competency strategies and concepts are. So besides underlining where she goes in terms of location, there was nothing specific. All other things were concepts and future orientation.
There's a holiday coming and the big question after that. What next?
Yeah.
How the year will look like. And I'm curious, if you would know how this year would look like, what that would bring to you, that is even more important.
I like this question a lot. It's as a fresh question. So even if there will be an idea of how the year would like on operational level, why would this be important? So this is so-called expansion and exploration. So expand and explore. So it means you invite client to shift attention towards future, to build some momentum, to build some energy, to build some inspiration. And then with this inspiration, we would like to go back to present moment and define where we would like to go from here, or meet any kind of resistance that client is currently facing, or getting any type of awareness that is needed for client in order to shift forward.
Yeah, well, even like thinking of a year seems too big. So I'm wondering if now that I've put it so broadly, even if we can just think about a couple of months afterwards. But what that would look like, to answer your question, is what would that look like? It would look like kind of really active engagement. It would be interesting. I would be learning. I would be kind of living a much more normal life, as Melbourne is in a lucky position and we go to a more normal life in terms of outside, be engaging in the world fully. That's what it looks like.
Okay, so if you have this active engagement.
So what you could observe that still a client shows same pattern. She shows strength on the level of how. And still nothing specific in terms of what specifically do you want, or like why would this type of shift will be important for her. And as you know, if you did our training, Science of Coaching, then you know it. If you don't, then what for you who didn't, the idea is to support client to grow in the zone of unknown, not to just to connect through the strengths, but help her to move into the zone that is currently invisible for her. So from here, if I would be a coach, I would either continue to work on a why or on a vision, or I would go down into specifics. So what specifically do you want to achieve through this having interesting life, to have a learning, to be active, engaged, and so on.
Engagement, this learning, and this more normal life, what is that bringing to you?
Okay, very good. I like this question a lot because it's the same question that she asked before. So this is indicator of active listening. So what does it mean? Coach heard that the client didn't give an answer on a previous question. So basically, coach repeated the same question in a slightly different way. And of course, client didn't give answer because it's hidden in the zone of unconscious mind. So it's below the surface. And of course, it's a common that we need to sometime to go below this surface and find the answers on those critical questions that are triggering our internal motivation in a given context.
What does it bring to me? It brings,
and this is good indicator because it's a difficult question. So a client cannot immediately answer. So the answer is not here. The answer is somewhere here, and the client is trying to find it. So it's an indicator that this is powerful question. So when we say about powerful questioning, it's not how what type of question it is, but what it triggers inside of client. So those breaks, those pauses, those I don't knows are usually good indicators of powerful questioning. If client is just talking, whatever question is there, it's not powerful because client stays in the zone of conscious mind and all things that are already known for her.
A feeling that I'm, how to put it in the positive? What I want to say is that I would be not feeling like I'm not wasting my time. Okay. But I suppose...
No, it's okay. Express however you feel. Say, I'm feeling that I'm not wasting my time. And when you think when you're not wasting your time, what are you doing instead?
Okay. This one is good and bad at the same time. What's good? Good is that coach recognized what it is that the client is focused on negatives, on what client doesn't want. And then coach invites client to move into the opposite, what it is that you do want. What could be better here is that I would give space to client to really think more and continue to with the answer. Basically, coach interrupted client here. And since client is really focused on future, and since client is really exploring the future, this is not a good time to stop client or to interrupt her. Usually, like when we interrupt clients, a good time to interrupt client is when client is in this region here. So meaning talk about past, giving content of what happened and when it happened and so on, staying on operational level in past. So that this is not relevant for the coaching. So when client is here, so this is it's okay to interrupt and to invite client to move to the future and continue exploration. But when client is active in this region here, yeah, no need for interruption.
I'm learning. I'm being a good friend and family member, and a really engaged citizen.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And when all that is
okay, so it's interesting. She's talking about system. She's talking about belonging to something bigger. So she talks about friendship, then family member, and citizens, good citizens. Yeah, so it means that she's attention really goes up here to vision, to the groups that she really belongs through these qualities. So again, it shows that the client is more more abstract, so goes into possibilities, then she goes into some specifics in a given context.
It's happening, and you're learning, you're being a good friend, engaged citizen. Which values you are living then?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, it's a third time that she's asking same question, and again, for me, this is an indicator of good listening, because a client is struggling to find the answer on this question, and in my perception, it's way better as long as you have rapport to stay in this zone and to try to invite client to really touch those qualities that are really resonate with her, then moving somewhere else. However, I would avoid word values, as there is a lots of misunderstanding of what values are not, and how we live our values and so on. So although it's a good question, I would just rephrase it a little bit. So then what is truly important, what it is that really resonates with you, what it is that you are bringing to those groups, what it is that you're bringing to your family, to your community, to your friends, and so on, and not directly state the word values. Although this client is also either coach or part of a coaching training somewhere else in the world, so most probably they understand each other.
Well, I think then I'm living my most kind of deep held values. You know, we've done coaching before and I've said learning. So it's learning. Again, it comes up all the time.
Yeah.
But connection, and also that making a difference. Like that's been important to me in whatever, like my government law career, my coaching.
Okay. And you mentioned yourself that learning is appearing a couple of times. So what is that telling you?
Mm-hmm. Okay. What you can hear here is direct communication, one of the ICF competencies. So when there is a pattern, we recognize that pattern and we put this pattern in front of a client. And then based on this pattern, we ask a question. In this case, the question was, what does it tells you? So that's an interesting question.
It's telling me that I'm up for a new challenge now. That's what I'm looking for. When I come back from Tasmania, I'm wanting a new challenge.
Okay, new challenge. And Kat, when you're living...
Yeah, new challenge. So it's interesting. As she's strong on strategy level and on systemic level, so new challenge, most probably it's not about operational level. So new challenge can be something about my life. So it can be something here, or it can be down there in terms of operations. So like new challenge in my work. So, and definitely it is something that we should remember and later in the session bring when we come to contract and so on, so that we can check in what way the contract that the client wants to achieve is leads a client towards this new challenge.
This new challenge, as well as the connection, and you are making difference. Who are you becoming then?
Okay. It's identity-based question, and for me, this is a good question in this particular session, because client already showed ability to think from the social perspective, to contribution to community, and then these qualities as a connection and making a difference, especially if it is about on a systemic level, can really help client to discover this personal transformation, where she goes in terms of her identity, who is she becoming through time, or at least recognize the direction. And what you can see that so far we don't have a contract. We have a 7 minute of a coaching session, and we are on a good track, as we first would like to get a basic inspiration so that client can really connect to future. So like first stage of coaching conversation is inspiration, and somewhere at the end of stage of inspiration, we would like to go for specific outcome of this session. And this is our intention for today, to analyze this session until contract. So let's hear how it went and to the contract.
I'm just thinking.
Again, good question.
Someone who's living my best potential.
My best potential. how that looks like.
Very nice. Look, so living my best potential. So, so what is good here? So far, clients didn't show a strength on operational level, but strength on strategy level and a vision level, also identity level. And with this question, coach is inviting client to put her focus a little bit on the ground and on details. And of course, the question is if client is ready to go there or is capable to go there or wants to go there. But the good thing is that the coach recognizes that there is a gap there and invites client to put attention on that specific logical level. And as you know, for our brain, having the experience or really living the experience internally, going through experience is the same thing. So it's like inviting client to go there mentally and make those neural connections that are that would be the same as if the client would live that specific experience. So how would that look like? Interesting question in a given context. And very good, because now there is a silence.
How does that look like? What that looks like going beyond just my normal kind of, because I've done very well in terms of my career, legally, but it's beyond just doing my job, I suppose. So I think what I'm looking for now is bringing all my skills together, like bringing all the law stuff with the coaching and being very active in the community in terms of delivering that. Like, when I think of that end of that 2 months, I want to have started to be doing, different group sessions more. And, I'm just getting this sense of being out. Okay. Maybe that's just because of the pandemic and mixed stuff so long.
Maybe. Yes, and when all that is happening, who are you then? Just like in one word.
So this is interesting because on the specific question, the only thing that was, how to say, close to being specific, it's not specific, but close to being specific, is doing group sessions. All other things, again, all other parts of the answer were on the level of how, concepts. So again, we have a client who really is strong on this level of concepts. So we, in this session, we, through that level, want to connect, but all the time invite client to either go up, down, or further in future. And then from here, coach is again going up with the same question. Who are you? This is the second time that the coach asked the same question. And again, for me, this is the indicator of good listening and keeping coach position and a powerful questioning. As each time when the client, in the last couple of sessions, there is this break. The client tries to find the answer. So fighting with the unknown, unconscious. Yeah. So how to understand what it is that is truly important. Who am I becoming?
Could describe.
Again, break. Very good.
Immersed.
Okay. And what you could observe here, so it's not just about asking a good question, but the way how you ask a question. So Boyana asked this question in a very soft way, and so client continue to go below this surface. And if the same question would ask in more directive way, like client would stay up here and then give some kind of logical answer. So this immersed is again not identity; it's a quality of identity. But yeah, it's a hidden down here, so it's difficult to find it. and we cannot expect for clients to give immediate answer on the strong or powerful question.
Immersed.
Yeah, it's a sense of being in.
Being in.
It's a different way of describing the flow, I suppose.
So again, we don't have answer on identity level, but answer on strategy level, flow, sense of being in, immersed, the qualities.
Being in. Okay, Kat, so I will just stop for a second here to check in with you where we are going. So you talk about a couple of months that you would like to think of. You mentioned learning that is happening. You mentioned also active engagement and activity and engagement also a couple of times. You talk about being also engaged citizen, being good friend. You said, I'm up for new challenges. You talk about being immersed, being in. Talk about a flow. Having said all this so far, how you want to use next 23-4 minutes or 2 that we are left with so you have really good outcome for yourself?
Okay, and for me this is very good. This is indicator of partnering. So just to checking with the client, are we on track? And going for contracting question. So the stage of inspiration lasts for 10 minutes, which is fine. I mean, the whole total session lasts for 30 minutes. So if we get a contract in 10, 11, or 12 minutes, it's really good. There is enough time for next stages of conversation. But also checking, are we on track? Are we going into right direction? And the way how a coach backtracked here by summarizing key elements, just all these elements that I put on this board was also very good. So let's hear what the answer was.
I think what I take from all of that is like we've been exactly on track. And what I'm looking for, I think, is like it's a sense of this is really a time of change for me. And so I would feel that I had value if I could walk away and say, I now have ideas to play with whilst I'm hiking in the rainforest next week. I have ideas to play with, and I have a sense of I want to be able to see in my mind where I am at the end of that 2 months so that I can then build on it later.
So we're talking about next 2 months.
Yeah, it really is the next.
Okay. So look, this is the best result of a session. And if we analyze these best results in a session for a session through logical level structure, what you can observe that a client wants an image. So see in my mind, it's a specific image of where she will be at the end of the next 2 months. So it's about image of the outcome. And also she would like to say, so meaning a form of a belief that I have ideas to play with. So ideas are here. So to summarize, like from the structure point of view, the best result of our time together today is an image of the outcome, and plus your internal sentence that you resonate with, that you have enough ideas to play with while you're in rainforest. So can be more specific about number of ideas and can be more specific about the outcomes. However, we have a client who doesn't show strength in being specific. So the more specific you are, or the more specific you pull client down, the less motivated client will be. And then there is this gray area where coach needs to decide how specific the best result of the session should be.
2 months. Well, the 2 months from when I come back.
Okay.
So it's 2.5 months from now.
Okay. So I have ideas to play with when I'm during my holiday and to see in my mind. When you say see in my mind, what do you imagine that to be?
Okay. So I'll stop it here, because now we have a contract, and now we move into the next stage of coaching conversation, stage of implementation, which will be part of another recording. So what I would like to underline here, coach in oral assessment, which is basically usually brings high tension, really demonstrated really good qualities of active listening, powerful questioning, coach presence, establishing coaching contract, creating the experience for a client, partnering with the client. And I'm really happy with the way how coach led this session so far. And also the client went immediately into future, so there was no past conversation at all. So it helped a lot also for this conversation to go out, to work really well. So coaching is a relationship between two people who are equal, and then you could, my interpretation of what we could hear here is that there was a good dance, good balance, good interaction between these two individuals. So this would be it for today. I hope that you enjoyed this this recording, and we will continue with our mentoring sessions in the next video. Thank you very much.